Okay, let's get started on our fourth and final video here. This is going to be a blood knot. I don't know how well it's going to go using with braid, but it's really designed to be tying a tippet onto your leader, especially like in fly fishing. So we'll see how it goes here. Gonna cross them like this. Wrap it about 6 times. 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you run your line back over like this, and then that creates a little loop here with the 2 lines. So you want to stick your line through there like that, and then hang on to it. You kind of need 3 hands with this knot. Now you want to go with this one 6 times. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now you went through this way, so you want to go through this way with this one so that they're opposite each other. Now I can't really pull it up where you guys can see it because you need your 3rd hand, which is otherwise known as your teeth, more or less, to pull it up right. Maybe I'll get it. Use my teeth a little bit. There you go. I'm going to trim your tags. There you go. Blood knot. Good for fly fishing, tying your real light tippet line onto your leader. Okay guys, next we're going to tie a nailless knot, which actually is an awful lot like a uni knot. You make a loop like that, and then wrap it 6 times. 3, 4, 5, 6. You can pull it up like that, pull it nice and tight. Now it's going to slip on this braid, and sometimes it'll slip on your fly line too. So what you can do is you can tie an overhand knot on here like this, and pull it really hard, and pull that overhand knot down to the knot like that, and that'll do the trick. Cut your tags. There you go. Yeah. Nailless knot. Now you got your fly line to your leader, pretending this is mono, down to your tippet from our last knot that we did, blood knot, and you can tie your fly on the end there. So use a clinch knot on that, works best. There you go. Now I'm going to tie you a J knot. It's good for tying a couple lines together. It looks suspiciously like a double Sturgeon's knot, only I don't think it is. It's a little different. I think it holds better than a Sturgeon's knot does. But you go through it once and make an overhand knot. Then you come over to this side, go through it a 2nd time. Then you go over to this side, go through it again. So you've got a knot that looks like this. Now you just pull it up. It's a pretty strong knot, not too hard to tie. Cut your tags. There you go. J-knot. Okay guys, I'm going to tie you one of my sturgeon rigs here. Now, this is what I use in the river. You know, my experience up here in the river expands across 5 decades. I've used a lot of different things, but this is the one I like the best. It's a steel leader cable and an 8/0 barbless hook. And if you don't like that, you know, just I don't really want to hear a bunch of comments. Last time I did a video and I put this on there, somebody made a comment saying, oh, that's the worst rig I ever seen, this and that. Then he progressed to describe a row rig in the Delta, you know, and if I was fishing the Delta and if I was fishing with row, that's what I would use. But up here in the river, this is the one. So you put, this is the way I do it. Over the years, I've come up with this. It seems to work the best. You double loop it through here like a clinch knot. And then you go through the sleeve a second time. Then out here on the end, you want to tie a little 1/2 inch in your cable. That way this sucker will not, cannot ever pull out. And you put that back through the tag and back through the sleeve one more time. So you've gone through there 3 times. Now you want to pull it up tight. You can trim off that tag. And then pull her up like this. And when you get close, you want to flip that little loop over and hold it where you want it to be when it's tight. Pull that up tight. You could probably fish it just like that and it'll never come out. But no sense playing around. So we crimp it. Like that. Now it's pretty rigid. Then what I like to do is I like to take some heat shrink and put it on here because I like those rigs to be rigid so they don't move around much on the bottom. Put it on here like this. Now I'm going to go shrink it and then stick it under the faucet. Okay, now I've run it underwater because I wanted to stiffen it up. But what I like about this is it's nice and rigid from the bottom, so it'll lay there nice and flat. You know, it'll kind of bounce around a little bit. That looks more natural than just laying there absolutely dead. And if you get a fish on, you're fighting your fish, this thing's got some flex to it then. See, it'll move around. But until then, it's nice and rigid. It seems to work better. So if you do that, now you do the other end. Put your sleeve on. Put your McMahon swivel on. Go through it a second time. Go through your sleeve a second time. And tie your little 1/2 inch on the end. And put the tag back through. Come on. Starting to get snug, but that's what you want. Pull it up tight. Sometimes you gotta use pliers or something to pull on it. Cut your tag. Now you wanna pull it in like this. Remember to hold your loop over in position, then pull it up, and then crimping down good. Now, overall, this leader's 3 foot long, but that's it right there. Now, if I was fishing down the Delta and I wanted to describe a row rig, I would use a little bit smaller hook, like 7/0. The magic of video, we just had this one made up already to this point. And then I would take a little sleeve on here. It's a little trick I like to use. Put it on there. Run it down to fairly close to the where your hook is. And then I crimp. Okay. I like to do that. And I got this one just a little bit far down, like I'm a little bit closer, maybe an inch closer. Then you take a bullet weight, put it on here like this. Then you can tie your McMahon swivel on the end. I do this, and I don't like to run it all the way to the end, because I like my bait to be free, where if they want to suck it up, you know, they can suck it up. And I can hear you guys now, but no, it's not going to float up the row. The current's going to hold it down like this. You know, it might move around a little bit, but that looks more natural. So that's it right there. My row rig for the Delta. And this is my river rig for ghost shrimp, night crawlers, eel, sardines, everything else. That's river, Delta. Or you can use it up here if you want to use row. I don't use row that often, but up here, too many bait sealers. Okay guys, I'm going to tie you my final knot, which is actually just a demonstration of my stinger hook, because we're going to be using knots that I've already used. So what you're going to need is some cutters, some super glue, a little cut plug, rubber band or something of the sorts, split ring, treble hook, and an octopus hook, and you will need 50-pound mono line. I like to use 50-pound because it's nice and stiff. You'll see why we're using it later. The brand's not really that important. I picked this up just because it was all I could find at the time. Then you want to cut off a couple of feet of it. You got 2 feet there. And the first thing you want to do is just tie a snell knot, like I showed you earlier in the video. Put your line through the eye. Keep in mind it's going to be a little bit tougher on you using this thick, heavy mono. So you wrap it about 8 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And pull this tag. Now when I pull that tag, it pulls really easy. Now you can wet that if you want, but it's not real necessary, I don't think, when you're doing a snell knot or an egg loop knot or something, because these winds are already on there, you know, with all the slack out of them, and then, but they're not tight. When you're sliding this through, it's not really going to burn it. The only time to burn it is right at the end when you're pulling it up, but it's not moving enough to burn it. So it's your call. Cut off the tag. Now, on this treble hook, you're kind of doing it backwards from what you did on the regular snell knot. You want to pull it up there pretty close. When you get all done and you're doing that last little cinch, you're going to gain just a little bit, so you want to get it up pretty close. You make a loop here. Now you're going to wind this from the front to the back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then pull up the slack there. And now give it a little cinch. See how we gained a little bit? Now, the secret to this, because you're making this hook self-contained, normally, this line would go on through your cut plug and go on up and become your leader. So you wouldn't need it because it's going to be pulling up all the time. So even if you get a fish on by the stinger hook, it can't pull the knot down and start loosening up the knot because it's pulling from both ends. But this thing we're doing here is kind of self-contained, so you're going to have to do a couple of knots in here. Do like a regular half hitch, and then go through it a second time, and pull it up. And you want to go through it a second time on the first knot in order to make it tighten up on here. Pull that nice and tight. Pull this through there again. You don't have to do it twice on the second one. Pull that nice and tight. Leave yourself just a little bit of a tag. Now, you want to put a little bit of, well, first thing you want to do is put your rubber band on. That way you won't be having to go over the super glue. Put your rubber band on there like that, because that'll hold it straight. And, I like to use rubber band because if you get a fish on and the stinger hook's on there, the rubber band's got some give to it, where you won't be putting the mono into a bind. But you want to put a little super glue on this knot, just to make sure it doesn't come unraveled. And this makes everything self-contained. Right there. Now, normally I'd put a split ring on here, but the super glue is wet. You'd have to let it dry for a few minutes. Okay, got my split ring on there. Now there is your stinger hook on the back of a treble hook. Nice little self-contained thing. You can tie a bunch of these up, put them in your tackle box. You can use them on, I tie 2 different sizes. I tie a couple sizes smaller on both of these hooks. This one I tied up for putting on a killer fish. You use them on cut plugs, and they work quite well. So give them a try.